Hi everyone, welcome to the Homespun Yak. Today's episode is going to be a special one. We've got a guest on this episode, although we're not promising too much discussion from her end, but Jordan Hensel
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But actually we also have something else that I concocted for this particular episode, so hopefully it's entertaining. Kyle has no idea what it is, so it's
a mystery to me.
Yeah, it is a mystery to you. It's actually something that I saw on a YouTube video by these two guys that I really like, and they were reacting to this particular video because there's a lot of SJW stuff inside of it, and it's a really interesting social experiment. Actually, Jordan saw a little bit of it as I was editing it because it's like 20 minutes long, so I had to make it a lot shorter. But it's an interesting clip for sure. But before we get to that, how's it going, Mr. Hatley?
It's going pretty well. Actually had a pretty interesting development on social media with the podcast in particular.
Yeah, I know what you're going to talk about.
You do?
I just saw it
You read
in passing. I just saw it in passing.
You read it?
Yeah.
Oh. God, so we were reached out to, and we may have a very special guest on, a celebrity guest. Got a message from the Flat Earth podcast saying we have a special guest available for your next episode show. It's Flat Earth Dave, the Flat Earth expert. He has guested on nationally and internationally syndicated radio. He's been on Sam Tripoli's Tinfoil Hat with Brian Callen and Chris Jericho. So I don't know if that's going to be our first celebrity guest, but I mean, why not? But Nick, what do you think about that? Flat Earth Dave?
Dude, all I gotta say is it's a far-flung world from what I'm usually used to, so I am totally on board, and I can't.
Okay.
I really hope that this works out because this would be super fun.
Well, I was like, I didn't know if it was for real, but yeah, look this guy up. He's been on like pretty big podcasts before.
Yeah, just not as big as ours.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's trying to build his brand too, but he sent me a calendar of like his availability and like if we want it on audio, video, like 30 minutes, 90 minutes, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to look at the dates, but look forward to that potentially. Talking to a flat Earth expert, which seems to be an oxymoron, but again, we're not closed-minded people here. I think Nick's kind of on the fence as is, so we'll see how that goes.
Are you?
You're a flat Earth?
Oh, really? Well, I'd like to hear it. You should come back on the podcast then when we're talking to what's his name? Flat Earth Dave?
Flat Earth Dave, yeah, the flat Earth expert.
I will so be on his team.
Really?
Absolutely.
I don't know much about the flat Earth theories, but
although
I guess
there's the
out.
big convention in I think North Carolina, right? Like the biggest convention in the world for flat Earth is in North Carolina.
I didn't know that.
Well,
I feel like I've heard that, but I can't. I feel like I heard that when I lived in North Carolina, but I can't say that it's like a fact for sure that it is there.
Yeah. I'm not sure either, but that's I thought I saw something about that. So anyway, that's something that might be going on next week. Well, or sometime in the future. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll figure out a date. He seems to have a lot of open dates. He's reaching out to us for some reason, but not the direction maybe we wanted to go. But we'll figure it out.
Well, folks, we're giving you quality content here.
Giving you what the people want, and now we're also a strong presence on Reddit at the moment. We have a Reddit
Define
account.
strong.
Well, I got 611 upvotes on.
Really?
They do upvotes.
Yeah.
on one of my posts from 2 days ago. So,
on what?
I'd say
What
we're
did
doing
you
pretty
say?
well. I just posted the picture of the one I edited of Mitch McConnell as Peter Pettigrew
That's
holding
good.
up the shriveled Voldemort
Yeah.
with Trump's face on it.
Yeah.
And people loved it.
I'm going to show Jordan that.
People loved it.
That's the one you posted on Instagram?
Yeah, and that got 0 love. But now when I put it on Reddit, it's just blowing up.
He's got that one, and then he's got another one with Alexandria
And that was
Cortez. And that was with...
that was your idea of Joe was the king of Rohan.
Rohan,
He
yeah,
was
yeah.
in his dementia phase.
Yeah, and she's Grima
whispering.
Wormtongue.
Yeah, and I posted that one too. Not popular.
That's too bad. That's too bad.
Turns out people did not like that one.
Yeah,
They
Yeah, that
loved
one
the
went
one
over
with
my head
Trump.
a little bit.
yeah.
First one was funny. I'd up
Yeah, yeah. That was the safer option. I found out. Was getting a lot of negative feedback for the other one.
Yeah, that's really good.
People like AOC a lot, so
Yeah, she's pretty popular. Well, she's doing the whole Twitch thing too, so she's in with the youth.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of social justice, shall we get started on this clip? It is rather lengthy. I'm going to have to set this up as we go along, and we're going to have to describe things a little bit for anybody who's going to be on the audio version of the podcast, but you'll be able to follow along relatively well. And if you'd like to actually see what these people look like, then just hop on over to the visual version, which is found on YouTube. Okay, so this is a really simple social experiment. They found 7 strangers, they put them in a room, and they told them, you have to eliminate 6 people. You guys all have to decide to eliminate 6 people, and it's round by round. One person gets eliminated per round, and whoever gets left over at the end, whoever you choose, wins $1,000. And these people do not know one another. They don't know anything about one another. This is the first time that they're meeting each other.
But they have time to talk about.
Yeah, so they have 15 minutes to decide who's going to get knocked off per round.
Until there's 3 people left.
Yes, until there's 3 people left, and then the 3 of those 3 people has to be a unanimous decision for one of them. But if they don't choose by the end of 15 minutes, then no one gets the $1,000. So pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory, but this is what ensues. Let me pop this up here.
There's 7 of you here. You have to decide who leaves with $1,000.
Oh. That's it? That's it? That's the end of it?
You guys have to decide together who's the one person that.
But guys, here's the thing. We could each leave with like $150.
No, I'm good. Give me the whole bag.
Here are the rules. We are going to break it down by rounds. The first 4, you have to decide which person gets voted off. Okay? And then for the final 3 people, you have to unanimously decide who's the one person who leaves with it.
So what's everybody's sign?
What does sign have to do with anything? I want to know bank balances. I want to know personal stories.
Negatives? 300.
Personal stories. So I'm black in America, so shit sucks. That's why I deserve $1,000.
I'm an immigrant.
So am I.
are we.
Wait. What if everyone who's not black leaves as a form of reparation?
Give me your pitch. Give me your 30-second pitch.
Okay, so before we get into each individual person's pitch, what's kind of your first impression, Kyle?
I don't know. Everybody seems to be whining and slightly overweight. That's my. So I'm wondering, is this really random people that they've chosen?
As far as I know, yeah, they go through a whole selection process. Yep.
I mean, it's not like completely random, right? Like these people apply for this role.
Well, not specifically. So this is from the YouTube channel, The Cut. So people do apply, but you don't know what the the game is that you're going to be involved in. So the cut has like all kinds of different things, like it's like truth or dare spin-offs with like drinking or like fear pong. I think that was another thing. So I don't think that these individuals knew exactly what they were going to be doing. So this is the first time that they're actually told what they're actually doing.
People seem very eager to share certain things about themselves that might be not advantageous in modern society, or the perception of that, in order to get the money.
That's a really diplomatic way of going about that. What do you mean by not advantageous?
Well, just like she's like, I'm a minority, or I'm an immigrant,
right.
and just like that's the reason why I should get the money.
Yeah, right. So potential reparations, and
right.
Obviously there are 3 black people of the 7, so that's why she said that. So then everybody else would get eliminated right off the bat, and then you'd just be left over with 3 people.
Right.
So we'll see how this turns out. But ultimately, now they're going to do a single pitch, like a 30-second pitch to defend, like just to tell everybody, hey, this is my situation, and here's why you should. Exactly. This is why I should get the money. So obviously, if you're just listening to the podcast, just know that this is person 1. And I'll detail things like as a person gets eliminated. So person 1.
That's why you deserve $1,000.
I spend every single day trying to save the world. I work on issues of climate change. I'm a good person, and I need new tires.
So that is why I came here for your tires.
Okay. Tired. I am tired of hearing this.
Okay, so this is person 2.
I spent my entire day moving today. I spent over $3,200 in rent this month alone, plus moving costs, bribing people to help me.
Liar!
No. Okay, here we go. I haven't been working
Person
since
3.
April. This will be my 3rd surgery within a year since my initial accident. Like seriously, my bank account's literally like negative 300 right now. If you're going paycheck to paycheck, where are those paychecks coming from if you're not working?
Hold up. If you got hurt at work,
Where's your workers' comp?
yeah.
That's my paycheck to paycheck. But you only get how much of your income? You only get 60%.
60% of your income
Exactly.
since April. It's now, how you get workers' comp for 6-7 months?
Like y'all asking too much questions, but that is the truth.
I'm 19 years
Person
old. I'm a
4.
full-time student. Money would really freaking help. I just bailed out my parents $10,000, and that was actually what I was supposed to use for my daughter's college fund. Sorry.
What if we helped you by connecting you to a mentor that we know?
Yeah, I know some people.
And
I mean, if you give a man $1,000, you feed him for a day, but you teach a man to make $1,000 and you feed him for life.
So at this point, I'm
Person
not working
5.
as well. So my bills my husband was able to pay them, but they're coming up again. And we may end up homeless.
So how long haven't you had a job?
Since September.
We're in October.
Yeah, it's been 30 days.
But are you choosing to be unemployed because the jobs that are available don't pay you as much money as you want to make?
No, I'm choosing to be unemployed because the jobs that I apply for, they tell me I'm not qualified for because I'm black.
I don't see how anyone could say that. That's not legal.
Because you're white.
yeah, it happens.
unfortunately.
It happens way too often.
Oh, I got a fat headache.
Person 6.
My brother's getting married in Michigan. I want to be there for my brother and for his fiance and
FaceTime in.
Hold on!
You could FaceTime him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
okay, that's all I have to say.
And person 7.
Oh, come on, guys. I mean,
Just
Don't
a
be mean
second.
to her, right?
Don't be mean.
You defend anybody else up there.
I know. Why did you defend me?
Defend nobody.
Y'all all
You
jumped
know
on me.
us.
Y'all jumped on me like some hyenas.
My only case that I can make is that, you know, I work hard. I would use the money to, you know, fix my car because I've had a busted windshield and a busted bumper for a while.
But it's still operable, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So
Totally.
you don't really
I was gonna say nobody's booing him because they booed me when I said tires.
I'm about to
Okay.
say, you can catch the light rail.
How will you decide?
Okay, so I'd like to pause here for a second. Let us collect our breath. And Kyle, now can you give me kind of like a first impression? Okay, one question is the first impression now that you've heard their backstories, just obviously 30 seconds. And then I've got a second question. Actually, Jordan, I'd like your first second impression because technically you've seen parts of this already.
I don't know. It's just tough. It just seems like people are quick to assume that their problems outweigh the other person's in an attempt to just get $1,000, which, based on what they've said and so far, would be gone in a day probably, and then
Oh,
need
yeah.
a whole another grand. So none of these people seem to be able to manage money well in the first place. I don't know. It's just it would be tough for me to decide who to give the money to at this point myself. So it's just I need to watch a little bit more to really fully articulate what I'm thinking.
And you shall. What was your
All
first
right.
impression?
You know, like you said, I did get to watch a little bit while you were cutting it, but I did just think of something. When was this made?
This is I want to say within like the last like year or so, maybe year and a half. I don't know how far back I went to find it.
Okay.
I think this was probably pre-COVID.
Which is, I'm just going to say, which is pre-Black Lives Matter movement.
Oh, that's true.
So I feel like, well, I was going to make the point, like, I don't feel like I'm not black, obviously, so I can't say that anybody's ever turned me
Confirmed,
down
Jordan is not black.
for the color of my skin, but I feel like especially my thought was that especially after Black Lives Matter, you know, I don't think that would be happening as frequently, but I guess, you know, it's possible if it was before then, but that was my
You mean
thought.
this
Well,
whole
they started
situation?
BLM actually started in 2013, but I think it really became a national, international, you know, known
Exactly.
organization, last year. So, yeah.
Yeah, I just mean, had it been filmed after, you know, this time last year, I feel like it would be less likely that
Right.
they would say something like that.
Oh, really? You think so?
I mean, kind of. I feel like the whole world is on your side at this point.
That's yeah. So
I don't know.
I guess
I
like
could see that. I could definitely see that.
I would think that a person
I
would
don't.
be a lot more
I could see
prone.
that. But yeah, I could see it both ways, honestly. I could see it going both ways where you would want to use it more, or maybe it would just, I don't know. It's tough to think. It's tough to really know for sure. But what were you going to say, Nick?
Well, I was just going to say, I would think that that would be like the argument that would be used more now that we've had the whole like the really outward Black Lives Matter movements that have been going on. So I feel like if a person were to say that in this context right now, that they would, like, everybody would just like, they would say it with this, maybe not this expectation, but this potential that everybody would just capitulate. I mean, kind of like that one girl says, do the reparations or whatever, you know, so that would immediately eliminate there are 3 white people, there are 3 black people, and there's one seemingly Asian individual. So that would immediately leave just the remaining 3. So I don't know, but I found that especially interesting. And also what killed me, one of the biggest moments for me was when the guy said, well, I've been trying to get a job, but I haven't been able to get hired because I'm black.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and they're like, what? And they're like, yeah, people will say that. It's happened to me before. Like, no, it does. I mean, I'm sure it happens, and it has happened a lot. But I seriously doubt they're just like, you know, we looked at your application, and we regret to inform you that, you know, because you're black, we're not going to be able to hire you. But, you know, we hope you continue to apply. And maybe one day you won't be black, and we'll be able to hire you. So keep working on that, and then we'll get right back with you. But yeah, I don't think that's a legitimate. It's not a valid excuse to me.
No.
It seems like a cop out, even if you know, a lot of situations it is a lot more difficult, and it has been a lot more difficult for Black people to get jobs, I'm sure, and but to use that as just a blanket excuse for all jobs, you know, it's just a little bit of a it's a little bit poor form.
Yeah, I forgot what the one person says. You can't, something along the lines of you can't get a job because you're black. I don't understand that, or something like that. And he's like, yeah, because you're white.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I think that's kind of where I was going with it too. Like I can see, you know, maybe like one or two times in a person's life where you're shown like blatant racism when applying for a job, and they're like,
Sure.
no, I'm not going to hire you because you are black. But, but I mean, how many jobs has he applied
In
for?
this day and age, yeah, I find
Like,
it hard to believe.
in the past 30 days of his unemployment,
Yeah.
might I add?
Yeah. And to just know for sure that they didn't employ him because he's black. Like it's just a great it's a great example of like correlation versus causation, right? Like you didn't get, let's say, 5 different jobs. I mean, but I promise you, none of them were like, it's because you're black.
Right,
Because
right.
A, that's illegal. But
Yeah,
I mean,
it
B,
is
like
very
nobody ever says that, right?
I
Unless
feel like he'd be rolling in dough if that happened. Like,
that's true.
Oh yeah.
you could sue somebody so quick for being like that blatantly racist, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh,
totally.
100%.
Let alone like
Yeah.
multiple job interviews, like 5 job interviews in a row, like not hiring me because I'm black, like
Yeah.
rolling.
But it's telling to a person's like overall mentality, right? Like this victim
Oh yeah,
mentality.
just like victimhood. Yeah.
Exactly. Like it's
Yeah,
because
it's a
of this.
cop-out.
It's
It's an
because of this.
excuse.
Yeah.
You just don't want to work hard enough to get a job, or you don't want to work at a job that you think you're above, or something like that.
Right.
And you're
Yeah.
ashamed that
Yeah.
that's the only job's hiring right now, so you won't do it. Everybody has those feelings, but you know, to just blame it on one thing like that is just very irresponsible to do, I think.
Yeah.
It doesn't help your mentality going forward.
Oh no, it definitely doesn't. And we will see as we go forward how that is going to affect things. Okay, so we got introduced to our first 7 people, or to the 7 people, and now they're going to decide for the first round who's going to get kicked off first.
Who goes off?
We should write something down, put it in a pot, and then maybe somebody else can read it. Like I'll read it.
Are you guys ready for the second round?
Okay, so the first round, which they, like I cut, but it was very quick. They cut off. They just.
He's gone.
Yeah, who's
did-
gone, Kyle?
Yeah, the one white guy.
One white guy.
Which I
Yeah.
knew that was coming.
Yeah, and I was actually going to ask. I should have asked early. Do you remember who goes next by any chance?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, then I won't ask you. So
It's the
Kyle,
woman
who?
standing up.
The woman standing up. Okay, so there is a Caucasian woman that is standing up. That's who Kyle thinks is next. But ultimately, yeah, they eliminated the guy. Now the guy is still right off of the camera, so he's not like gone in like another room. Like he can still hear their conversations and stuff, and that's actually important as we go forward.
Can I bring up something from the first clip real quick?
Sure,
like,
yeah.
We've already kind of discussed that.
No, go for
the
it.
white guy's the first guy that left, and I think I find it kind of interesting that he's kind of the only person that came up and said like, I'm a hard worker, and ends just aren't meeting, and this $1,000 would really help me out. When I feel like everybody else was just kind of like whining about how their situation sucks and their life sucks and that they don't want to work. And did you guys?
That's a good point. No, that's a good
grasp that?
point. Yeah, it's like, you know, it just seems like you're rewarding
Bad
people
character.
who
almost.
are not hard workers and probably won't put the money towards something that's going to propel them in a positive way or help them in a positive way for the future, and you know, inspire more great habits of financial savings and security and things like that. It's just like, I got $1,000. Let me blow this and shine on Instagram real quick and do all this stuff and so
Maybe they'll
not
surprise
shocking.
us.
Yeah, maybe. Although it's kind of like what you said, Kyle. Like it doesn't seem like they're totally fiscally responsible, but I mean, who knows their whole life story? But it definitely, like Jordan was saying, it definitely seems like he was the only one that actually said, "Hey, I work hard, and this is how I would use the money," and everybody else was just kind of like, "I deserve this because." I don't know. I'm so far in debt, or whatever it might be. It's not. It's you go to a bank and tell them that they're going to be like, I don't think we're going to approve this loan.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the white guy's off, and now it's 6 are left.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, you've started.
Oh, do you think?
Abby, you should go next because using the money for a plane ticket, and I feel like you can save for that. And if you really wanted to go, you could take the bus, you can take the Greyhound,
Amtrak.
you could Amtrak.
You could drive.
You could drive, yes.
At this juncture, I'm so sorry, Abby, but I have to agree. I got to pay for plane tickets too.
Me too.
And I just
just
had to pay for one too, and I could barely. Yeah, I just pay my
don't.
rent.
Yeah.
I know I'm going next, so I just want to say something.
Why do you think that you're going next?
Because she could be going.
Because everybody stood up and said, Abby, I think you should go next.
There's only 2 people out of
People, girl.
That's a third.
Now you gotta go because you don't
Yeah,
believe in
you don't
yourself.
believe in yourself.
So here's what I think is interesting, though. I've heard that I'm white,
I've heard that I'm white.
Yeah. Some have said.
so I can't understand issues, or
I never said
don't
that. I never said that.
I've heard white come out
She's
of
white
multiple
also.
people's names.
Okay.
It's my turn to talk. Let me talk. So I just think it's interesting that race coming from me towards any one of you would be ghastly and inappropriate, but race coming towards any one of you towards me is appropriate and
Please don't put me in that because I never said anything about race, and
I
do
did.
not.
And I would say that it's appropriate because you have the privilege to be a white person in America.
I'm Hispanic.
You should have spoke up when somebody called you white the first time.
Well-
somebody misguessed your race, like somebody misguessed your gender, you're going to speak up about it, correct?
Well, no, because I felt attacked in that situation, and I was
So?
hearing you saying you don't know what I'm talking about because of the color of your skin.
Oh, fuck. You guys are just
Why are you crying? Girl, you next.
I'm starting to feel bad for everyone. I'm at this point where I want to stick around in the match so I can be actively in the discussion, but I'm like starting to hear everyone's input, and I'm like, oh shoot, like maybe I don't deserve this, I'm like, fuck.
Were you forfeiting?
No, I'm not forfeiting.
Okay, so she gets kicked off.
She's gone. Yeah.
So that was, I thought that was pretty interesting too, that everybody was ganging up on Abby, who's apparently, even I mischaracterized her. I called her
How dare
white
you.
when she is Hispanic. So yeah, so now the girl who's 19 years old, if you'll recall, just as a recap, the girl who's 19 years old and has a kid is the one that got kicked off. And now, okay, before I get your reaction, yes, and before I get your reaction, something happens now. She's off the set. I'm just describing for the people who are just listening. She's off the set, but she can obviously still hear and see them and everything, but she's not part of the game anymore. She's sitting with the white dude that got kicked off first. Okay, so now they're still deliberating with one another, just talking, I don't know, gossiping, I don't know what you want to call it.
Honestly, this is why
Are you
pretty
still
sure I'm
crying?
glad I left.
Jesus. You're the game over.
She literally said, I don't know if I deserve this. That's what she said. That's how she said it. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Honestly, I'm at that point where I'm starting to think whoever does get the money does not deserve it.
What's crazy is Abby was on the chopping block. She was like, I know I'm next. Oh, you do? Okay, then you're next. But then you got up there and
And you started crying.
and you were like, I don't even know if I deserve this. Okay, well, never mind, Abby. You next.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had one thing that none of us do, and it was a child. And that
It's
was
a child.
was a
You could have
child.
played that baby cry. My baby ain't got no diapers. My baby ain't got no wipes.
That probably
I'm
would've
out of breast milk.
That would have worked on me.
So you could have. She should have used what she had to get what she needed. It's a Players Club line. Ronnie Hill quote, you live by it, you get
It's
everything
what
you
you
want in
got
life.
to get what you want.
I don't deserve this.
She felt so hard that she didn't even think she deserved it.
So I was listening to you guys.
Well, I don't know how to explain it. You just have to have a heart of steel.
I didn't vote for you, girl. I'm like,
You guys, I want to remind you, the final round is when we get down to 3 people.
Yeah.
And all those 3 people have to decide on the same person. If you guys can't decide, nobody gets the money.
Cut will not be keeping that $1,000.
Trust me.
You guys ready for the next round?
Yeah.
Start.
Okay, so that was the added little bonus section to that. What'd you think of that?
I just think everybody's just a dumbass on this thing. I really do.
You're getting to Jordan's level.
It just makes me mad. Yeah, it just makes me upset and really discouraged and cynical about our society at large and people's attitudes toward what they do versus what they deserve and what they feel like they need to get based on color of your skin, whatever's going on in your life. Like, everybody has issues at one point or another, some much greater than others. But I don't know, I just don't like the selfish entitlement that, like, I have all the right answers and I know that I need it more than you and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get it. And that's what this woman says. Like, what they quoted some woman, like, you got to do this, or some person, like, you have to do this to get what you want. And it's like, well, if you're living by that mentality, clearly you're not in a good place. So that's probably not the best mentality to live by if you're quoting this person so confidently, yet you're about to, like, cut somebody's throat out for $1,000. So it's just, I don't know. Most of these people are pretty despicable. No, it's just annoying. It's frustrating to see and hear this type of bullshit, really.
Yeah. And also, again, just the fact that they are, I mean, obviously they're not friends. They don't, like, know each other. I don't know. In that situation, because of what's at stake, the $1,000, I find it so hard to believe that in that situation I would be fighting back with these people. Like, you just don't, like, I would want to be, exactly. I would just want to get as far away from these people as possible. It's such a strange thing. But it was so quick, right? Like, they just immediately turned on each other. I don't know. I don't know if it's like
toxic so quickly.
Yes,
and
exactly.
just spread so fast.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'd rather just, like, not try to find fault in others and like prop myself up on this pedestal and get $1,000. I'd rather just kind of try to maintain some semblance of integrity instead of just sacrificing all of that to be filmed and to throw shade.
Yeah. Well, that's because you're part of the patriarchy. Did you have anything to add to that?
No, not particularly.
Okay. Well, let's continue. There's 5 of them left. And so, to the 19-year-old and the white dude got kicked off.
All right, and 3, 2, 1.
You ready to vote?
Yep. I'm ready to.
All right, how are we going to do it this time?
Oh, you can vote now if you want.
How do you guys feel about games of chance?
No,
What do you mean?
I don't trust that.
Like, I had a really hard financial time a couple months ago, and I gave so much plasma that I passed out on the bed.
Yeah, I have a scar too.
It's a minute ago, you didn't know how to get money to go on a plane.
If I have a plasma scar, doesn't that tell you I'm trying to do everything I possibly can?
I mean, are you?
Yes.
We have 2 black players.
Okay. So, what was her name again? Abby, the Hispanic lady, was just kicked off. Which I guess that wasn't too much of a shock, considering that they were already on the brink of kicking her off before the 19-year-old single mother jumped up. Yeah. So, donating plasma. Have you ever donated plasma?
Nope.
Have you?
No, I haven't.
I have not, but, like, I definitely know some people that have. Yeah. So
I've thought about it. I know some people who have done it as well.
yeah.
It's not an uncommon thing, but
I mean, you get what, like a decent. I mean, not like a
I think it's
ridiculous
like
amount of money.
$50
Yeah.
around that for donating. Like, and I think you can donate once a week or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm not super sure.
Yeah. Kyle's considering
Nick,
it.
could you tell us? No. Can you tell the listeners what plasma really is? That's important.
Yeah. People, go out there and donate your plasma. Plasma is just essentially the liquid plus the other containing parts of your blood. So you've got your blood, your actual cells, and then you have the other like minerals and stuff like that that float through your bloodstream. And ultimately the plasma is independent of the blood cells themselves. So there you go, Kyle. I'm sure you were awake and very alert.
Yes. I'm ready for the test now. Ready for the pop quiz.
Le pop quiz.
I've actually famously never given blood or plasma.
That's because
You
you're a
haven't given
selfish
blood either?
bastard.
No. Well, I'm, as you know, a vampire hunter, and I believe all the blood goes
Inside the
to
body.
vampires.
Inside the body, it started.
I watched Blade, and it changed my life. So I'm now Blade.
I am now Blade. Of course, a white man would replace a black man.
Well, he ran out of money. Wesley Snipes he went bankrupt, so, and that's true.
Oh man, yeah. Okay, well, Blade, shall we continue with the remaining four?
Proceed.
We have the three black individuals and we have one white woman.
The most illogical and compassionate people are gone.
Yeah, so that's a good point, right? Like the quietest people and the people that were the most, I guess, like rational, or even if they weren't rational, but like empathetic, like cared a lot,
Yeah,
they're
and like
gone.
open to viewing the facts of everybody's situation from the beginning and not necessarily like beating each
And then
individual player down like from the start.
Shutting them down.
Okay.
A white woman and a black man. We're kind of all on the same level right now.
Right.
Like income wise.
You don't need $1,000. I need it because you're a white woman. I'm a black man.
Well, we're not equal out though.
But if you're making more than me, you just said
Well, first of all, I'm making more than you because I have a job.
exactly. So I need it more than you do.
You have a partner with an income and she doesn't.
That's but my partner's income
not
is
sitting on
not
this
just sitting
couch.
on this couch. I'm sitting on this couch. So we're two different people.
Discuss.
Why you wait till you got eliminated to start playing?
Right.
Guys, sometimes I can't talk louder than y'all.
You just gotta.
Shit.
I just need to know that if I hurt my knee and I'm out of commission, I can't be a bartender, I can't be a hairdresser, like I can't do that, and I have fucking nothing. So
You're a
like,
hairdresser? Hairdressers make a lot of money, girl.
no, but I'm not.
I was
I
looking
can't
for
work
minimum
for 4
wage
days.
jobs.
No, I have jobs. I'm not looking for a job.
Then why don't you take it from 3 jobs to 1?
That's like saying, why don't you get a job?
I mean, I'm in the process of getting a job. I would never work 3 jobs and be stressing myself out like that because that's
I don't
me
have a
personally.
choice. I got nothing, and I'm doing the fucking best I can. And if I don't get a break, I genuinely don't know what's gonna happen to me.
That's everybody though.
You guys were talking about like having like guaranteed futures and careers and stuff, and I was just saying that like having a kid is like that's talk about a guaranteed thing in your future. Like that's a guaranteed future to me.
You had the child, you had sex to have the child, and now the child's here. So you have to pay for your child and be responsible for it.
Arguably, that could be said about everyone's situation.
I mean, it could
Wow.
be.
I didn't
but
have to get hurt and
yeah.
not be able to work. and
I'd
lose all
have
my
to get
money.
laid off.
No one does. Yeah, that's the thing. I think is what we're all saying. Well, I think we're really listening. I think we're just kind of talking. So
I just want to warn you guys, you have about 3 minutes. I think you should come to a vote.
So I just want to say to the next person to go, it's not
It's not
personal.
personal
It's really
at all.
not.
Ooh, it's a tie.
I think they should do a tiebreaker amongst themselves. Like,
Okay, so before this is about to get juicy again. So before we go on, I'd like to sort of discuss what we just heard. So right now it's tied between Hoden and Kat, which is the white woman and one of the black women that are in the remaining 4. So what I heard, the one thing that like jumped out at me is which was actually a really good point by one of the people that was on the sideline, Abby. The one black dude was saying that why don't you just go from 3 jobs to 1 job, and like giving the one woman, the hairdresser, some advice, and then Abby jumps in and say, well, like, why don't you just like get a job? Which is, it's just like, why, like it again kind of jumps into my head of like the victim mentality of like, well, I don't have you could easily, he even mentioned like you could get a minimum wage job or something along those lines. Like, those are the exact questions that people were asking you earlier. Like, why don't you have a job? Like, do you feel too good to have particular jobs? Like, somebody had asked him that, and he's like, no, that's not it. The jobs that I've applied for, they haven't hired me because I'm black. It's just like this whole like victim mentality is kind of like all circular. It's all compact within his mind. It doesn't seem like he realizes that, like, why would you give money to a person
He's a lazy piece of shit.
who has these solutions for everyone else, but doesn't look at himself and provide those solutions for himself?
I don't understand how he's still on the couch.
I don't either.
To be honest,
0 personal responsibility with that person at all.
He kind of even when the lady who's out now, Abby, is that her name?
Yeah.
When she was like, "Why don't you get a job?" He almost kind of admitted to the fact that he could, when originally it was like, oh, I can't get a job because I'm black, and then just then it was like, well, I could have 3 jobs, but I wouldn't do that to myself because that would stress me out. Like,
exactly.
all right,
whatever it is,
pick
it's
a
going to
side.
be an excuse.
Exactly. I feel
that
like that's
will often contradict himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because most people that have 3 jobs are doing it just because they enjoy it, right?
Yeah, just because I love no free time.
Yeah, exactly. They're not stressed at all. Okay.
I would much rather sit on this couch and argue with you guys for $1,000 than get a job.
Oh my, yeah, exactly. That guy's insufferable.
Okay, so now again it's tied, and now they're actually going to deliberate a little bit with the people on the sidelines to discuss who should get kicked off for the final round.
Sudden death.
How about they decide?
Sure.
That is not fair.
We gotta figure something out.
We can take some input. I don't think that they should be able to vote, but I think that they should be able to give
you wanna-
input
okay, let's do
because
input.
they're objective.
I mean, I don't think that's,
literally
I
have
don't think
3
that's gonna be
minutes.
fair because every single one of them before they got out voted for me. So what are they gonna say?
Are you sure?
Yeah.
How do you possibly know that?
I saw you write my name down wrong. You voted because you wrote the thing wrong, and you just look like you hate
assumed
me.
about
So
me.
maybe
You assumed that about me.
Can you give us a second? Can we pause
I'm
for
sorry.
a second?
Can we really pause? I really don't need you to antagonize me. Why don't you just be quiet?
I have been.
Okay, then keep going back to that.
She's in charge, everybody.
See, that's uncalled for, unnecessary. But
Really? Like, I shouldn't have responded back to that?
I
Like,
mean, nobody's over here talking to you. You're right now. You're just wasting our time.
All right, that's enough.
Okay. Okay. I thought that was great. Like they include the people on the sideline, and then the one guy says a little bit something, and then she's just like, please don't antagonize me.
Something that was absolutely true.
I
and
know.
you just assumed that about me.
Yeah.
Which was like the most true thing that anybody has said in this whole
my
situation.
Yeah. Kyle, thoughts?
It's just disgusting behavior across the board.
Yep.
I just hate intolerance and just, I don't know, when people talk over other people and dismiss their opinion without really even listening to them based on most likely the color of your skin or your gender or whatever it is. You're making these dumb assumptions before really even knowing the person. And that's the whole problem, with all of that, is that you're assuming before you know the person. I mean, everybody's done it in their life, and everybody's been surprised that they were wrong. I mean, hopefully pleasantly surprised that they were wrong and learn from that. And that's what the world needs a lot more of now, is just people listening instead of assuming based on this, and this of your physical appearance. You must be this, and this. Therefore, I am this thing to you, basically. And you don't even know me, So it's just, it's just low IQ behavior, really, coming from that couch right now.
Yeah, I think we were talking about that a little bit the other day. Just how this kind of behavior is definitely a product of, I think, lack of education for sure.
Yeah, and that's definitely true. I've always said that education is the most important thing, and if we're lagging behind in that in any way, or our educators aren't up to the task, I don't know. It just really does make a giant impact in society in a negative way. If our education is bad, which it is on a worldwide level, it's terrible. So,
yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I don't have anything else to add except for the insufferable nature of those individuals. Yeah, especially when they're talking over one another. But what you find is they, just just for added information, they kicked off the hairdresser, so the white woman who's the hairdresser, and so then it still came down to the three black individuals that were mentioned at the beginning, with that one woman said about reparations and whatnot. So it worked out for her in that regard. But what I find more interesting is those three were the most vocal, right? So they were the ones that spoke the most and were the most aggressive when it came to like wanting to win this, which, I mean, more power to them, but ultimately it doesn't really it leads you with a really bad taste in your mouth of like, okay, you won the $1,000, but I want nothing to do with you. And I think big picture, when you think about networking and you think about trying to make a greater impact, and especially if you know you're going to be on a channel that's this big, I'm thinking in my head, fuck the $1,000. I want to make the best impression possible so that I could potentially have exposure that people would see and be like, oh, this person's like awesome. And suddenly I'm making way more than $1,000. It's just like, you have to think about those kinds of things. But instead, these individuals don't think about that. They just think like one step ahead. Oh, I need to win $1,000. I need to alienate everyone around me to win $1,000. It's
Maybe that makes them a better candidate for the $1,000 in that case.
Yeah.
Like, maybe the fact that they can't, like, their brains don't work to that degree, like, they're never going to think that way, I doubt. And maybe that means that they should get it over the other people.
Yeah. And so in a weird way, in kind of a weird way, obviously, if
Not
you were
an
to,
ideal world.
if you were to cut this particular clip from our entire podcast, in a weird way, winning the $1,000 makes the greatest loser. Yeah, because at least with these individuals that are just so outgoing and just like overpower everyone else.
Yeah, extremely cutthroat and dishonest and selfish to win $1,000, then you've just exposed yourself that you're pretty much willing to do anything and victim blame and shame people and do all these things to get $1,000, and like you said, millions of potential people viewing this. I mean, you might not get a job after this, but it's not based on your skin color. It's based on like your personality, what you would do in a particular work situation or how you treat other people that you don't even know. So,
Well, it's probably because he's black.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, keep that in mind.
Yeah, see, well, I'm a white man, so I wouldn't think of that.
No, you wouldn't. Okay.
Oh, let's see who wins this thing.
So the final bit.
Everybody's taking everything too personally. This was strategically done.
Fuck y'all, get a job.
I will. Do some hair more.
So this is the final round. You have to unanimously decide who's the one person who leaves with $1,000, or no one's going home with money.
Okay, so
nobody's getting that fucking money.
No, one of us will get that money.
Should we walk to the back and do it? Let's go.
Everybody on the sidelines, who do you think deserves it out of those three?
None of them.
Yeah, can I like
Yeah.
just like recuse myself?
Recuse.
Mum's the word.
What did you guys decide?
We decided on Shakira.
Yeah, we picked Shakira because they had already decided prior, and instead of just leaving the money on the table, might as well give it to somebody that could use it. I just hope you're not lying.
I'm not. No, I'm really not. I'm not.
Okay, so one of the woman got it, and I ended up cutting a lot of it, but like the whole like conversation between the three of them trying to figure out who was the guy was vying for himself the entire time. And the only reason why he ends up like begrudgingly saying, "Oh, well, she should get it," is because the other woman was like, "I'm giving it to Shakira." Like, so then he knew, okay, it's 2-on-1, so might as well just like give her the money instead of being petty and running out the 15 minutes so that nobody gets the money. So, yeah, he's the whole time he's like he only concerned for himself. It's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, really, I mean, the winner as well. I mean, she only was concerned about herself too, and like, oh yeah, I need it. Like, do you though? Can we trust you with this money based on how you've acted? And
she has negative money in her bank account, so.
Well, and the inconsistencies in her story. Everyone else actually called her out for the inconsistencies in her spiel.
She never had to say another word.
Exactly.
The rest of the show.
Exactly. They were all like, "Well, that doesn't really make sense. Like, are you actually telling the truth?" You know. So I don't really. I mean,
She's
personally,
like, "Don't
if I
ask
were there,
questions."
Exactly. I don't know if I would have just let her get away with, having an inconsistent facts when everybody else seemed to have their story put together.
Yeah, and
that was painful.
Yeah, it is.
That was really painful.
But I think big picture too, right? Like you at the very beginning. I mean, again, I cut a lot of this stuff, but at the very beginning, they're all like happy and like, "Oh, I wonder what we're doing here, and this is gonna be so much fun," and like all this stuff. And then by the end, like you can tell that the individual shift in people's emotions as they're slowly being thrown under the bus, especially the people that aren't as vocal, the people that got kicked off early. Like you can, especially like Abby, for example, was like, "Well, I know I'm next" and whatnot. And like you can tell there's like this like bitterness in her voice, like the whole experience was this like went from, yeah, we're strangers and we're just getting to know each other to I fucking hate everyone here. It devolved so quickly because of $1,000.
Yeah.
And of course, with a mixture of a few people that are just like cutthroat and they only care about getting the money.
Yeah, I mean, and they're making it out like I'm barely alive, like I'm barely living and paycheck to paycheck, and like I don't know what's going to happen if I don't do this. Meanwhile, they're all obese, so I think you're okay, like as far as like sustaining yourself,
right?
And then
we know you can cut at least
not
half
like you're
your
homeless.
food bill down.
For real, yeah. So right there, it's like you're not exactly like dirt poor. Like you don't really know what that is, because if you were, you would not be, 3 times the size of what a normal person your height should be. So it's just, so I don't know. Everybody, of course, will, exacerbate their situation to sound a little bit more in need than another person. Like I get it if you're trying to be cutthroat and really win the money, which, that's in a situation like this, that's how you win the $1,000 is you just be as most, dishonest, cutthroat, selfish. I mean, say what you need to say in order to get the money.
Also, and I think it's how they handle it, right? Like the first, three people, they were just like, "Here's my situation," and clearly, except for maybe the woman with the child, like, here's my situation, and it's clearly not quite as dire as some of these other people that are like, I owe money, I can't pay my rent, all that stuff. But they're also like really calm about it. I mean, especially the first guy was like, yeah, I mean, I could use it to fix my car. And the thing is that the people that are more cutthroat, they don't just say, oh, well, I don't really consider that like a necessity. Like that, that's a valid argument, sure. But they don't just say that. They say it in a mocking tone and then make fun of the person for even saying something. It's just like they're telling their truth. Like they're telling the truth with the knowledge that they could be lying. They could say like, yeah, my mom got shot 5 times. I got 5 babies. And, it's just like they could be making stuff up just willy nilly, but they're not. They're being honest. And yet they're being met with being made fun of, which is just like, it's the worst quality. It's not even that they're just trying to win. They're doing it in the worst possible way, just as shitty people.
Yeah, just exposing yourself as an asshole and
yeah,
the selfish individual who will, just make excuses for why other people's problems are the way they are. But when it comes to themselves, it's like, oh, I can't help it.
Yeah,
So it's just like, I got no time for that.
Right.
Why is the show like rewarding this behavior?
I think it's probably more a psychology experiment. Like it seemed like, I don't know who's behind this study, but
it's just a YouTube channel. It's like Jubilee and The Cut, and there's I think 1 or 2 other ones that are really big. And essentially all they do is just do these social experiments. I mean, some of them are